Hello, I'm Pico Teaches, and this is the Love Recovery, where we talk about all things pertaining to narcissistic abuse, awareness, as well as recovery. So I'm answering a question that I got in my DM. You can slide on into my DM if you have a question. Pink Girl Teaches, all over social media. Even if you inbox me, I'll answer your question. The question that I'm answering today is, how does the narcissist feel when you move on? That's a good question. And, when you move on from a narcissist, you move from a state of confusion to clarity once you've allowed yourself the opportunity to process everything. You're now in a position to redefine yourself because, let's face it, the narcissist has been controlling you. It's like a puppet on a string. You walk on eggshells, you second guess yourself, your reality becomes warped because you are living through the narcissist's eyes, or you're living through the narcissist. The way the narcissist views us is really as an extension of themselves. And so they want to control you. Again, it's all about power and control with them. And so you've had an opportunity when you break away to have a moment of clarity in the midst of the confusion. And once you do that, you actually allow yourself to get to the point where you can actually be open to meeting somebody who will match your energy. That's somebody who is going to be able to reciprocate, somebody who's going to be everything that you wanted, and who will be able to love you, and you can love them in return. So, initially, the narcissist does care about you. I don't know if I could go as far as to say they love you. Love is a conditioned emotion. It's based on how we experience it in childhood. And also the thing with the narcissist is, or just in general, is that you can't love when you don't love yourself, and they lack self-love. So I wouldn't say that the narcissist gave you any love, because let's face it, it's an illusion. So initially, they admire all your good qualities, and those qualities actually sustain them. But their objective is to deplete you of all those qualities, all your charisma, your character, your integrity, your finances. When they feel like whatever it is that they want, when they feel like they've depleted you, and that you're now showing little signs of resentment, or you're just coming undone, they don't care. They don't want you at that point. What do they need you for? You're stressed. Some people, like, if you're like me, I'm a stress eater. So you may gain weight. I gain weight, and some people don't eat. They lose weight. Some people are affected, emotionally, psychologically, and the narcissist will be happy to throw those things in your face, because they're not there to build you up. They're there to tear you down. So, like with me, I had a constant reminder that, oh, you're putting on weight, and you look a hot mess, and you used to be this and that when we met. Now look at you. You let yourself go, and looking at me with disgust, as if you were any better. Like, hello, sir. Mm-mm. So you got to remember that you're dealing with a toddler, and they have nothing of value to add into your life. They deplete the life from you, and that actually makes them feel good, because that's their goal. They actually despise you for those qualities, even though initially they didn't. It's almost like they feel like they can suck those from you, and those qualities can be transferred onto them. And when it doesn't happen, they begin to hate you. They begin to, devalue and discard you. So in those moments, they're very arrogant when they feel like, you're actually being depleted, or they're starting to devalue you. They become arrogant, and it doesn't matter how much you try to love them, how much you try to shower them with affection, attention. You pouring out the best that you have to give to a bucket with a hole at the bottom of it. It doesn't matter how much love, how much attention, how much adoration, how much admiration you give them. It's never going to be enough. And and it can't be reciprocated to you, because they don't have enough to sustain themselves. So it's not a surprise that they're going to demoralize you, they're going to humiliate you, they're going to do everything to embarrass you, even in public. And again, this is devaluing, and discard is coming. That's what's next. They undermine you. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes the narcissist makes. They undermine you. And that's your biggest weapon. That's your biggest, like, aha, So you thought, okay, and you can really show out and show up for yourself in those moments. Everything that they seek from you, everything that you give them, you'll never get back. And so they feel like, because they know that's what you want, so they feel like they're leaving you in a destitute position. They're leaving you in a destitute posture. And that may be the case. You may feel like that way for a minute, but once you reconnect with yourself and you do the work to redefine yourself, you do the work to reaffirm yourself, you practice abundant amounts of self-love, self-compassion, and patience with yourself, as well extending grace to yourself and really being willing to be vulnerable, because it's going to take a level of vulnerability to say, hey, Joy, I didn't have such great boundaries, or I lacked self-confidence, or, why did I believe those things? Why was I so desperate for this relationship? Why did I embarrass myself, like, settling like this, or just putting up with that, behavior? You ask yourself all of those questions, and it's okay and it's good, because once you start answering them, you start to see, the loopholes that the narcissist had to enter into your life, but work on them. And sometimes it gets real difficult, just dealing with your truth and who you are and what you've experienced. Sometimes, like I talk about codependency a lot here, because I was a codependent. I know that other people end up with the narcissist as a result of them being empaths. That's not my story. But if you want more information about that, then watch this channel. Just Say No to Narcs. She does, her experience or her encounter with the narcissist was as a result of being an empath, and her information is great. I wouldn't send you somewhere where I thought that you would not get the right information. She has awesome content, and if you're an empath, you'll be able to relate to her a little differently than that you can relate to me. There's information that you can get from both of us, but like I said, like I will identify with codependency because that's what took me there. Okay. And, once I began to work on my issues and I had done the work before, but I hadn't done it all. And I guess for some of our stories, some of our journeys, they're lifelong, and we have to continue to fortify our boundaries and also up them as you experience different changes in your life, so that they're relevant to the person that you're progressing into becoming. We can constantly evolving, and so your boundaries should. And that was my weakness. That was the problem. I had old boundaries for a new person, and it wasn't going to work because they weren't sufficient to protect me in that new moment. So the narcissist's desire is to take what they can and move on. It has absolutely nothing to do with you at all. You are nothing but a pawn in their lives, and they're incapable of reciprocating anything back to you. They want to leave you at the lowest point in your life, and they want to leave you in a bind, and they don't even care. Sometimes, you hear stories where the victims ended up committing suicide because they were just so broken up on the inside. You can't see a way out. You want the pain to end. You're devastated, embarrassed. Some people end up homeless, unemployed, institutionalized. I mean, like, there's so many different terrible and devastating outcomes that can come. But you have to find that fire on the inside of you to self-motivate. You have to self-reflect, dig deeper, dive deeper, and don't be afraid, even when the pain and the uncomfortableness arises up on the inside. I just remember, like, I literally just posted something to my stories on Facebook, and I want to just read it because it suddenly just speaks so much louder to me. But it's a quote from Bishop T.D. Jakes. I think I already deleted it from my phone. Let me go to my stories. And it was so profound. It spoke to me so much, but all it simply says is this: there are some things that happen in isolation that cannot happen in a crowd. I had to have quiet. I had to have total silence to work through my issues. And, you know, even my initial issue. What was my initial issue? My initial injury that caused me to be a codependent. I was sexually assaulted when I was 4. It was a family member who lived with us. And so you can imagine, like, if you can imagine, like, I wasn't really able to say anything because I was, you know, he was there 24/7, and that was the person that we were left home with, you know. And so a lot of things happened after that. And so it was in total isolation that I was able to begin my journey of recovering. And that's after a discard, when I really hit rock bottom. So I understand that there's painful things that we encounter in life that can almost kill you. Yeah, and I was that one that wanted to die, the one who wanted to commit suicide at 15. That was the first time I tried it, and thankfully it didn't work, but here I am, right? But, you know, sometimes it feels like you're buried by the weight of your pain, and you really may be, but remember, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. And before a butterfly can emerge and be beautiful and admired by everything around it, it's that caterpillar that gets confined in a cocoon. And it's in those dark places where, if you allow the pain to take you through the process and you trust the process, watch these channels, watch as many as you can. I told you about Just Say No to Narcs. Narc Survivor is another one of my favorites. Watch these, you know, watch these videos, read. Psych Central, Psychology, whatever it's called, Psychology Today has a lot of good information. And it will help you, you know, it'll help you begin to process the pain, as well as be willing to see what it was that allowed the narcissist to come. The narcissist has spent time trying to reprogram you into thinking that they are correct. They want you to believe their lies, but evolve. Like I said, allow that pain to change you. You know, you can move from shame to showstopper if you trust the process. And I want to encourage you to do this. Like, please, don't lose hope. Don't give up. You can really do it. You can evolve. You can glow up. You can aspire to be the highest version of yourself. All of that is possible. And guess who can't do that? The narcissist. They know you can. They know you are better than them, and they don't want to see you get there. That's why they try to demoralize you as much as they do and cause as much harm and damage. That's what makes narcissistic abuse so insidious, because it's the intent behind, you know. They had no good intentions from day one. And so fortify your self-confidence and your self-love. And when the narcissist realizes that, listen, after all this time, after all my hard work in projecting how I feel, after all of my, you know, belittling, abusing, whether even physically, sexually, financially, verbally, emotionally, all of that, when they realize that that doesn't stop you, that that didn't kill you, that that didn't limit or diminish your capacity, because guess what? You went through the process and you're okay now. And mind you, they're always watching. They're always watching. Like, I know one that, I'm going to share my story in a real quick so I can shed some light. But there's one story that I know of. It was like 22 years later, and he was still hovering. He would still stalk. He was still watching. Now, for me, like, I moved to a whole nother state. Like, I packed up with my kids and we left. Here comes this joker, like years after the fact, showed up at our door. Like, first of all, I was like kind of like disgusted that he was able to find out where we live. I'm not, you know, and I'm sure he got it from one of the kids, you know, which is one thing, you know, but showed up at the door with suitcases. Like, joker, what are you doing here? This is somebody who went to work one day and didn't come back home. And now you talk about you want your family back, but guess what? His supply that he left us for, he left me and the kids for, had just had a baby. And so what, the honeymoon was finally over, and now responsibility, you know, parenting, and now she expects you to function at another level, or now she's boring because she's mom mode. No, you know, they do stuff like that, and it's just crazy, you know. You need to see through they get upset, sorry, that you are able to see through their illusion and redefine yourself. And it causes them to face their ugly truth that they're the problem. And then they get scared that other people around them and around you will know that the problem never was with you. Because remember, they went and told everybody how terrible you are, and they kind of reversed the roles. What they did to you, they're telling everybody that you did to them. They may say, I invested in her business, in his business. I was, I was with the kids. I was helping her. I helped restore credit. All of these things that you did, they'll take the credit for and say that they did it for you, so that they can garner sympathy, narcissistic supply from other people. And now the truth is starting to just become apparent, because you're not bitter. I mean, like, people who are recovered don't remain bitter. You're better. Hello, you glowed up. You're doing your life, you're living your life, and there's results behind you. They don't want that. It makes them just question their very existence, and they hate themselves. That's why they will try to hoover you at this point, to not because suddenly they say, oh my gosh, her Joy's tenacity is so strong that she was able to overcome everything that I put her through, and look, she's redefined herself, and she's even better than she was when I first met her, because I am. But and that's a confidence you've got to have. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to know that that you are worth it, that you are worth more, and that you should demand more. So they're gonna just want to come back. So not even because they care, because they don't. It's so that they can punish you, so that they can torture you, so that they can so that mentally they can think, oh, she's had time to re-up on the supply. She's got her finances back together. She's got her game back together. He's doing so much better. He's, just recovered. And they think that that will transfer onto them. No, that's not how this works. And they still don't learn their lesson, that you have to do the work, that they have to do the work themselves to experience the change that they want. And this is the single most painful reality check for the narcissist. They think that they are your God. Seriously. They really do think that they're your God, but that's total nonsense. And it just shows you their diminished capacity. Like, hello, they believe that you're their gods. And all it does is prove to them that they were not good enough for you in the first place. It destroys the narrative that they put out. And then it causes them to, just to face their truth. And so a few things can happen at this point. They're either going to go out and seek new sources of supply so that they can just recover from the injury that you just gave them for them being nosy and hovering on you. Like, if you would mind your business, you wouldn't feel this way. But they don't get it. They become mad, envious, jealous, hateful. They're raging, angry, obsessive, all because they see their truth. Because guess who is thriving? Guess who is moving on with their life? You. They're mad at you for living, for breathing, for doing what you were created to do. Anything that is stagnant is dead. Anything. Think about some stagnant water. How does that smell? Not good. Mosquitoes. And things that are so beneath you, and that's what they expect you to be like. And you are a stream of living water. So no, they don't. So just be careful that when they do appear back in your life to hoover you, don't fall for it. Please don't fall for it. It's going to, the love bombing is going to be there, and it may even be more intense than it was initially. And, that's the drug that they feed you. That's the drug that they feed us with. But they will discard you they'll devalue you much quicker. And it's going to be nothing but punishment. It's going to be even more devastating than the first time. They're going to be deliberate with the pain and the hurt and the disappointment that they inflict, because they have a point to prove, and not necessarily that they even want to prove it to you, but to themselves, that they're better than you, and that they finally were able to overcome, in the end, in their fantasy war with you. Because the war is really with themselves. It's got nothing to do with us. They lack the ability to self-reflect. And so, or self-regulate, and so they seek it through other people. But that's generally what happens. So, you know, resist the hoover and be great. Don't even worry about them going to come to you. Like, be concerned to the point that, you know, like, okay, I'm going to focus on myself and be sure that I know my truth and that this is who they are, that I'm not going to give into it, because you don't deserve that. Like, I will tell you this every day until you finally believe it for yourself. You don't deserve that. You deserve goodness, kindness, meekness, wholeness, tenderness, good, unadulterated love, somebody who will support your dreams, who will anticipate your needs. The narcissist will not do any of those things. Everything that you have to offer is like, just take it to the trash can and throw all your good qualities away, because essentially when you're giving to a narcissist, that's what you're doing. Don't waste your goodness on a narcissist. And, you know, don't throw your pearls to the pigs, to the swine. That just came across my mind. And when we give of ourselves to these people, that's exactly what it is. So that's all I wanted to come and share with you today. I hope that you did find this video helpful. If you did, then go ahead and hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with somebody who you think it could be beneficial to. Thank you so much for joining me. And like always, take care of yourself and take care of each other. See you tomorrow.